Welcome to another episode of Low Gear. Last week I was talking to John French, who was the originator of the Plains Museum in Ashburton, and we were talking about the old rail car. So this week I'm talking to Mike, who's the driver of the rail car, and we'll just see how the whole thing fits together. So join me now as we go for a ride on the old rail car. Hello Mike.
Here we go, Bill.
One box into there.
That's your brake. Yep. That's the throttle.
Yep.
That's the guard's bell telling me to go. Yeah.
And you've got two pedals on the floor.
Yeah.
What do they do?
This one's what you call a dead man's pedal.
Yes.
You've got to have your foot on that. If you take it off after about 10 seconds, the brakes will automatically come on.
Right,
and this other one here is the horn.
Oh, so
Yeah.
foot horn.
Foot horn, yeah.
So what are you doing with this one?
That's the throttle.
Yes.
That's your motor.
Yep.
And this here, that's the it's just a semi-automatic gearbox.
Oh right, so
And,
are these little speed boosts?
Yeah, the speed. Yeah, we only get into third gear here because we haven't got the amount of track. So
Sure.
we just get round about the 40k mark. So yeah.
So you got your hand on that one, which
Yeah,
is
that's the brake.
Yep.
Yeah, I just normally rest me. It's just how I drive it. I just
Yep.
Keep my hand on it. So yeah. And it's going down here. It's downhill grade.
Yep.
It's hard to see, but it is. So yeah.
So we've got is this a rev counter for this?
It's a speedo.
Speedo? Yep.
Yeah. That's the rev counter there.
Yep.
And that's the amp meter there.
Right.
Yeah.
And these are just lights that'll come off.
Come on, yeah. When I take me foot off there, see that's the forward and reverse, that light automatically comes on.
Yep.
And that's a low air light. Before you can actually drive it, you've got to get the air up to about 75 up to there. Yeah. Before you can actually, because it's an air operated gearbox.
Yes.
Yeah.
So have you always, is this what you did for a job back in the day?
No, I've always just been keen on trains. I joined here when it started in 1970, my mum used to guard on the steam trains, and when we got this, I was always quite keen to drive it. So
Sure.
And I've been driving it since about 1991. So yeah.
Well, and John was saying it's practically original.
It is, yeah. It's more or less just as we got it. The paint hasn't been. It's getting to the stage now. It will need an overhaul, and it's sort of on the once we get a DSA shunter going. That's in the shed down there.
Yeah.
It'll probably come out for a body overhaul. So yeah.
So if you operated this where did it go from Christchurch to Oamaru practically?
They virtually run over the whole South Island. There was 9 of them. There was 9 of them built in England, 10 built in England, and only 9 got here. When they were coming out here during the war, the ship got sunk and only 9 ever got here. And they were mostly used right throughout the South Island. They run Christchurch Picton, Christchurch Greymouth, Hokitika Ross. I think they run services to Westport and Christchurch Dunedin and Invercargill. And there was about, I wouldn't be sure, there was about 3 or 4 based in Dunedin. They used to run out originally to Cromwell on the central line, and then it was cut back to Alexandra, and they finished in 1976. So, yeah.
That was the end of them.
That was the end of. They were still running. I actually went over in this rail car. It was through Ferrymead Railway, and they organised, and it was actually this rail car, and they used to have what they call the paper run to take the presses over from Christchurch to Greymouth.
Oh right.
And that luggage compartment down the other end, it was just stacked full of papers. We left Christchurch about 2:15 in the morning. And over, yeah. We got over to, I think it was a Greymouth, we got about 6 or 7 o'clock, I can't remember, but it was back in 1978, so it's a while ago now. And then they more or less finished in 79. That was the all rail cars stopped running then. So yeah.
What's the horsepower of the engine that's driving it?
I couldn't say. It's round about the 250 mark, but yeah, I'm not actually sure. I've been told, but I just can't remember. So yeah.
It's a reliable engine?
It is, yeah. You've really been much problems with the engine, so it's always been pretty good. So,
and it's just a diesel engine, it's not a diesel?
No, it's just a diesel engine. So.
Not a diesel electric? Or,
no, it's diesel with a Wilson gearbox apparently, and then it's got David Brown final transmission drives in it. So, yeah.
So you've got a bit of England that we understand.
yeah. And there was someone from England over here about 4 or 5 years ago now, and they were saying where this factory used to be now is a housing estate. It's not not even there anymore.
They don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I sort of thought everything got a blind, keep the sun out of your eyes.
Yeah. It's got all sorts of little safety things in it, things that you've got to do before you start it up, and it's
So it doesn't run away on you.
Yeah. It's once you get to know how to drive it, it's not really hard, It's different to driving like your braking's pretty simple and that, but it'd be different to driving a train with wagons on that your braking's different, but this is reasonably easy, so yeah.
Do you think that having the lack of numbers, I suppose, that you could actually, like 48 seats or something you could put on this, would be one of the reasons why they decided to take them away?
They could run them in pairs. They used to run them, you used to see them, and there was the bigger rail car, what they call the twin sets, the Fiats. They came out in 1955, 56.
Fiats from Italy?
Yeah, they were Fiat motors, but they're actually made by Drury, and they always got nicknamed the Fiats. And they carry, I don't know what their capability was, but they run down here. I can remember them and these in later years, about last 5 or 6 years before the rail cars finished. So
Wow. So how many trips when you're doing an open day like today? How many trips would you actually do in a day?
Oh, you do about you haven't been counting. We would have done about 8 to 10, sometimes 12. It just depends. It's just on demand. We run every half hour, but sometimes there's no people about. We don't run. So.
Sure. And just there was a huge amount of people in your street. There was a hot rod show, and then there was the
swap meet. Yeah.
Thousands of cars, it seemed to me. Well, there were thousands of people at the swap meet. Just an enormous number of cars around the place. And I thought, well, when they finished all that, they would have come over and visit you.
A lot of people just go for the swap meet, and that's about all. So.
Well, there we are. Back at the station. And as I say, this just brings back the memories for me of one of these things turning up and saying, yes, we're on our way.
Well, they had different ones in the North Island. They were called standard rail cars, and they were actually built in the hut workshops. And there's one at Piotoa now, and I think they run it up to Napier at the Art Deco weekend. I'm pretty sure it's mainline certified. So I've seen photographs and.
Right. So do you have to be certified?
We have to have our own rules, and you've got to know your safety rules, and things like that, and then you just get with a guy that's actually done it now. He's passed on with Ron Hayward. He trained me, and then he said, I think you're good enough to drive, and he just told the committee here, and they just wrote me a letter and saying I'm okay to drive it. So,
fair enough. But if you had to work for the railways, you'd have to have some sort of government recognised
you'd have to
ticket.
The railways ticket, if you did with the railways, it would actually be only for the railways, and a lot of the preservation sites are like that. You can drive them, but you've actually got to go through their safety system to do it. So
And back in the day of steam, you would have had a steam ticket to sort of put the JA and the KAs, those long distance trains.
Because I actually work. I've done 40 years with the railways. So I'm still there. So I'm actually employed by Toll New Zealand now. When they sold up the Kiwi Rail in 2008, our yard still stayed under Toll. But I don't drive a train, but I'm a shunter. I used to have a radio on and take wagons on trains and drive a container forklift, load and unload trucks.
And that's the other thing that fascinates me. Earlier in the show we looked at a remote digger. So the guy's got his little remote control doofer, and the digger's doing what it does, just like he was in it. And then you see this great big, like a shunter train with 30, 40 carriages along behind it. And the guy's standing on the front of it, but there's nobody in the cab.
Remote, Yeah.
Have you got anywhere near that sort of technology?
No, I don't. No. We've got a shunt engine in Ashburton, but we've got a driver in it all the time. They were going to remote it, but they didn't in the finish. So, yeah.
No, I just think all this is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, this is the technology of the coming out of the 1920s into the 1930s. And it's improved and improved and improved, so you get, like I say, you don't even have to be in the cabin to drive the plane.
No, that's right. Yeah.
And this day you've got a dead man, so if you go to sleep or get a heart attack or something, the whole train just comes to a halt.
They do. They've got systems and they've got a button you push, and then if you push it too much and actually don't do anything,
or something else happens.
Everything comes to a halt, and the thing comes up in train control in Wellington, and they virtually they come out and you get relieved. So yeah, I don't drive, but I'm on it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, well, so can you just give me one more hoot of the horn with your boot there? There you go. Well, there you go, folks. The old rail car. And good on you, Mike. Thank you very much.
That's no problem.
Low Gear's sponsor is ProTrans Earth Moving. They're a Christchurch-based company and specialise in earth moving and demolition. They also specialise in remote control diggers for those jobs that have an element of danger. And they have a variety of special purpose trucks that can get into those hard to get to places. So if you have an earth moving or demolition job, check out ProTrans at www.protrans.com. Welcome back. We thought we'd have a look at one of ProTrans' earth moving remote diggers. And what you're looking at is the controls on the control box that the operator uses to control his digger. I think it's hard enough operating a digger sitting in the thing, let alone sitting away from it and just doing it with levers and buttons and what have you. But there's the machine. It's swinging. There's nobody in it. It's picking up a piece of wood. I just think the skill of digger operators is absolutely amazing. How they operate it just like an extension of their right arm. It's certainly odd to look at a machine with nobody in it, and it's actually working. And we put a camera in the cab. There's the seat, there's the levers and the buttons, and it's swinging to the right, ready for the next piece of this operation. But as you can see from this footage, looking at the back of the machine, there's nobody in it, just the seat sticking up. And this whole concept was thought up by Gerald Daldry, and he's the boss at ProTrans, and this is his idea. And I guess his idea came from a safety point of view. After the Christchurch earthquakes, there were many slips to be dealt with, and men and diggers are basically the way to get rid of them. So Gerard's thought about this, and let's eliminate the risk. So by remote controlling a digger, the men are away from the danger, and if the digger goes crash, well, it goes crash. Nobody's hurt. So congratulations on your innovation, Gerard. Fantastic. So don't forget, folks, if you've got that element of danger in your demolition job, just get a hold of Gerard and his team at ProTrans Earth Moving, and you can get them on www.protrans.com. www.protrans.com. Good on you, Gerard. What you're looking at here is a shovel, and it's all that remains of the big Marion shovel that the government bought back in the day. And the boom and the dipper and the bucket are all located at a place called Granity on the west coast. But the Marion Company in America, that's what they did. They built shovels, small and big. So what we're going to do now is head back to Canada and talk to Doug about his Marion. Doug, as I was saying before, the shovel that they have in Dunedin is a long, skinny arrangement, right. And this seems to be the same. It's got the height, and I guess it's got the height because you have to put a boiler in there.
That's right. It's a vertical boiler standing up. Yeah, that's right.
So this is a two-man operation machine.
Oh yeah.
Man on the keeping it going and somebody pulling the levers.
Well, actually, it was a five-man crew. You had the lever man, the fireman, one or two guys getting you wood or coal, and one or two guys with shovels cleaning up around you.
I also noticed it's on wheels rather than tracks.
This is an early one. This is 1912, so they hadn't really figured out tracks at that point. Oh. So it wasn't till the late teens that they came out on tracks. Wow. The early ones were either on a railroad or on these wheels.
So you've got, is that an open diff there to drive the...
It's open gear. It's actually no differential, so it's just
straight backwards and forwards.
Straight backwards and forwards. And then if you see these two chains here, yep. Your front axle swings like a wagon. So you spin the machine around facing the other way, and then you hook chains up underneath. So when you swing the engine up top, that turns the wheel. and that's how you drove it down the road. Power steering,
Sure.
so to speak.
So this would be parked up by the material.
Right.
And what are you loading in 1912?
Well, this one, they were loading ballast cars on a logging railroad.
Oh, I see. So this railway
So you
cars.
sat in a
Yeah.
pit, yeah. But there's pictures of them digging up streets, and they actually dug sewer trenches with these things. They'd sit on mats and they'd dig underneath themselves. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So this one took us 7 years to rebuild. We stripped it right down to the last nut and bolt and rebuilt it all the way back up and through.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And it goes? I mean, you've
Oh,
got
it goes, yeah. We were running it here a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
Take it out a couple times
So
a
how long
year.
does it take to sort of get everything all, ready to
Well,
like to crank it up?
Steam takes 2 to 3 hours in the morning. The second morning, once you've got some heat, you're not bad, less than 2 hours. But your first time, 2 to 3 hours just to go. So you light your fire, go around, you grease and oil everything, have a coffee, wait around. But in the old days, somebody had to get up pretty early to get that fire going
We
every
need this
morning.
machine going by 9 o'clock, boys, so get out there and get on with it.
Yeah.
And you'd have oil everywhere? I mean,
Oh yeah, they're greasy, dirty things to be around because there's open gears. It's throwing oil and grease and
yeah, so
steam
all
throws
just
it.
drips on the floor.
Oh
on the
yeah,
ground.
everywhere.
It's, and I see that you haven't even got a seat to sit on. It's a
No.
stand-up job all day.
Actually, you stand on your left foot because your right foot's working the brake, so you're standing there all day. It's a tough day. I got to hand it to them guys. I do it for a half hour, and there's 3 of us that we switch off when we're doing it as a show. Because half hour, you're about had her.
Oh, wow. That's well. And there's a handle hanging down in front of the operator. So there's 1, 2, 3, 3 handles, 4 handles up
Yeah.
and 1 handle down. What does that one do?
The one up top hanging down is your throttle for your main engines.
Oh, okay.
And then, yeah.
So would it be quiet? I mean, once you shut all the steam off.
Yeah, once you shut the steam off, she's dead quiet.
Yeah.
When you're going, you've got the sound of the exhaust of the steam and the gears turning.
Oh, so,
But it's still quieter
Yeah,
than a modern diesel engine.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was going to say, have a Jimmy screaming in the
Oh,
back there.
way better than that. Way better.
And it's got halfway up, it's got the steam engine that operates that.
Yeah, that's
The
called
gears?
the crowd engine. It's a 2-cylinder little steam engine, and it runs the stick in and out. And then you've got just about the identical engine on the back to run your swing, turns it back and forth. Then you got the 2-cylinder upright engine that runs your main hoist drum, and then you can dog it out to run your travel.
Doug, 1912, and we're into the teeth.
Right?
To get
Yeah.
the material into there and then swing it around, dump it into something. But somebody's thought of this. How are we going to break that up a bit to get it into, and so they come up with some teeth? So these are cast and bolted to the
lip of the bucket. Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing's new.
No, they've had that for years.
They have. Now this is a big solid thing just in itself. It's just all cast, all just
Yeah,
riveted
cast
together.
and rivet. That's all they had in those
Yep.
days.
And I still see they've got a bit of rope here to
Yeah,
release.
that's your dump rope.
Yeah.
This was a 5/8 yard bucket, so this was the smallest shovel that Marion built.
Wow.
And it's a wooden boom clad in steel and wooden stick. So in those days they thought that was better.
You're right. Wow.
And
Just like the wooden poles, like on logging trucks.
Right,
that
yeah.
We've seen, they were using at the time.
yeah,
So wood still got its place in this machinery at this time. Amazing. Can you get up on the controls there? See how all this sort of works, folks. Doug, you're on duty and you're ready to start a day's work, and just sort of talk us through the levers.
Sure. This is your swing lever. Push forward, you go left. Pull back, you go right.
And that's steam operated.
That's steam. Oh yeah. Runs a little 2-cylinder steam engine out the back. This one runs your crowd engine, which runs your stick in and out. You can see this linkage here. So you push it forward, that runs the stick out. Pull it back, and that runs the stick in.
And so you'd have to keep your eye on that stick because you've got to run out of, or does it automatically stop when it gets to the end?
There is a stop at the end, but you don't want to bang into
No,
it very
no,
hard.
no.
So Then this one was your steam set for your main clutch. There's a little steam cylinder here. You push that one in and engage the clutch here on your hoisting drum. And once your hoist was engaged, you'd pull back on your throttle and you'd lift your foot up off the brake. When you got to your full height, you'd close your throttle, hold your foot down on the brake, close that, and then swing over, and then you'd pull the dump rope. So you were going pretty steady all day.
And you're only on one foot.
You're standing on one foot all day, and the other one's working the brake. No seat, no air conditioning, none of that stuff you get
allowed to
today.
stop for a cup of tea at 10 o'clock. Right. So there'll still be dust and crap everywhere.
Oh, if you're digging, it's like today, yeah. And this thing is actually fairly fast. You can do a 30-second digging cycle with it, so it was fairly fast.
1912. And Marion supplied us the government bought a Marion to go to Stockton and did all sorts of other jobs. Well, that was a big truck. I mean, the truck was sort of maybe the size of this.
Oh yeah.
And then it's the biggest tool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they made huge stripping shovels, 50, 60 yards, and big drag lines. They were a huge company in their day.
And they no longer existed.
Actually, Bucyrus bought Marion out, and now Caterpillar's bought Bucyrus out. So technically this is a Caterpillar now.
So there's the boiler, Doug. So where's the water? Where's the coal? Where's the... Where do they store
well,
that?
your coal or wood would sit right here. If you had coal, you had a bin.
Yeah.
You'd load it here, but we just run with wood. And the fireman stands up in here. He throws the wood or coal into the firebox right there. And then he works the injectors to keep the water going on. The water's tank is on the other side, so with steam you've constantly got to keep adding water as you use it up.
Oh. And these two side cylinders, are they running the circuit?
That's your main engine for your hoist and for your travel. That's the two-cylinder, the big engine.
So that's the main. It does what it does.
Yeah, that does your
And
hoisting.
sitting in front of us here,
That's your swing engine. That just slews her back and forth.
and there's the guy. This is his platform. He's
He
got
just
some water
stands
there,
there
got
all
some timber there. Load that up. What's this little lever though?
That's for your draft door at the back.
Oh, okay.
So you control your fire with your draft.
Yep. And all those little valves and just control how much steam's going, where it's going to
That's
go.
for your injectors. We've got 2 injectors on it, and that controls how you get water into your boiler. Water glass up above,
Yep.
and a gauge up above that.
Wow. 1912. Low Gear's sponsor is ProTrans Earth Moving. They're a Christchurch-based company and specialise in earth moving and demolition. They also specialise in remote control diggers for those jobs that have an element of danger. And they have a variety of special purpose trucks that can get into those hard to get to places. So if you have an earth moving or demolition job, check out ProTrans at www.protrans.com. Doug, this is obviously old. And it looks like the Bobcats that we see today.
Actually it is. It's 1958, and it's your first model of Bobcat.
Wow.
This is what it evolved from. So these were 2-wheel drive with a caster wheel on the back. And just casters around behind you. So they were designed, Keller Brothers designed them for cleaning out their turkey barns.
Okay, low enough to get under and...
Yeah, and working narrow aisles and all that, and so that was successful, and their neighbors saw one, they wanted one, and then the next guy wanted one, and they didn't really want to get into manufacturing. They were farmers, so then they sold the rights to Melrose, who then named it the Bobcat, and away you go. You see them everywhere in the world now.
Yeah, you certainly do. So are these brake clutches like the bulldozers?
No, they're forward and reverse clutches. So that's forward for your left and back for your left, and this is forward for your right and back for your right. So you go straight ahead, you go like that. Straight back, you go like that. And if you want to counter rotate, you can go like that.
And the other way around, so you spin
Yeah.
around. And it's having the little jockey wheel on the back, it'll just spin around
It
on
just
its own.
spins right around. Yeah.
And off you go down the next track. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
just the cutest little thing.
Yeah.
Up it goes on the truck with the back and zip around.
Yeah, yeah. They're a little scary because they got no canopy on them, and that caster wheel wants to go where it wants to go sometimes. So
And the engine on the back. that
yeah,
drives
it's a
it.
little 9-horse Wisconsin. That's what they started with. Just
Okay.
a tiny little engine
Yeah.
and
Wow.
little drive chains on it. I don't know if you can see under here.
Oh yep. See
You
them
can see
down
these
there.
little chains under there.
Yep. And that's all it is. Simplicity itself.
Pretty simple. Yep.
And this up on, into the truck
Yeah,
and off.
and it runs the same controls as the regular Bobcats. Your left pedal does your boom and your right does your bucket, and not much of that changed really. So
Well, there
this
you go.
is what it was like 58 years ago.
58. Wow.